Hey everyone, and welcome outside. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a book called The Little Book of the Language of Flowers by Nathalie Chahine. Now, as this book is all about flowers, I thought that I would use that as an excuse to come outside, get some fresh air and film in a different scenery. So I got this book from the National Gallery of Canberra. I hope that's what it's called. If that's not what it's called, there's going to be some text on your screen now telling you what it's actually called. So yeah, I visited a little while ago to see the Love and Desire exhibition, which was a collection of pre-Raphaelite works, mostly on loan from the Tate in London. The exhibition isn't showing anymore, but I will link to information about it, and I will also link to the Tate in London if maybe that is something that you would like to go and see for yourselves. But that is not why we're here today. Today we are here to talk about this book, so let me get on to that. So what is the language of flowers? Well, all across the world, flowers, or different flowers, have different meanings associated with them. So it used to be that if you gave someone a bouquet, the flowers that you put... I see you, you magpie. Give me 1 second. So it used to be that if you gave someone flowers, or if you planted certain flowers in your garden, you were communicating something besides just, these are pretty flowers. So you could be saying something about love, or feeling betrayed, or being in mourning, or something along those lines. So I'm just going to pick a few of the flowers in this book. Of course, it is the little book of the language of flowers, so it doesn't cover absolutely every species of flowers, but it goes through a fair few. So I'm going to pick a few which I found interesting. I'm going to give you the abridged version of what those flowers symbolize, and I'm also going to show you some of the really beautiful illustrations in this book. So the first flower that I wanted to talk about is the hydrangea, and according to Nathalie Chahine, hydrangeas come from Japan but have been grown in China since at least the Ming period. Now, hydrangeas are said to represent betrayal and an elevated state of mind. In Japan, they're thought to represent betrayal because they can change their colors from blue to pink. And so it's said that for this reason, samurai were forbidden from having hydrangea in their garden. The hydrangea is also associated with an elevated state of mind because it's said that 9 dragons poured hydrangea tea over the first Buddha when he was born. And so ever since then, hydrangeas have been an important symbol in Buddhist practices. And speaking of Buddhism, let's move on to the lotus, which is also an important flower in Buddhism. It's said that the lotus would grow wherever Buddha would tread. And in Buddhism and Hinduism, deities are often pictured sitting within a lotus flower. And so that is why sitting cross-legged is sometimes referred to as sitting in the lotus position. The lotus was also a symbol of reincarnation in ancient Egypt because it would sort of bloom every day, and then at the end of the day it would dip its head below the water and then rise again the next morning, so representing a cycle of reincarnation. And for this reason, it is not uncommon to find lotus or loti, because one lotus, many loti, in ancient Egyptian tombs. And staying in Egypt, let's now move on to the thistle, which is said to have originated in Egypt. The thistle is a symbol of usefulness and austerity, and although it originated in Egypt, it is not only associated with Egypt. For example, it is a symbol of Scotland, and it is associated with a number of legends, including one set in the 13th century, which says that a Viking invasion into Scotland was stopped because when the Vikings went to invade, they stepped on all these thistles and cried out in pain, and this of course was a thorn in their side, so to speak, but it really helped these Scottish defenders. Thistle is considered to be a symbol of austerity and usefulness because in Sardinia, the oil from thistle seeds is being used to make biodegradable bags. And lastly, let's wrap up with the marvel of Peru. The marvel of Peru is said to represent being shy because although this plant grows in the sun, it only flowers in the shade. It's said that the Aztec people were the first ones to grow the marvel of Peru and that it is still used in holistic medicines today. Alright, so I think that will wrap up our little sneak peek into the Little Book of the Language of Flowers by Nathalie Chahine. I will leave links in the description section if perhaps you would like to purchase this book for yourself. And it is also part of the Little Book collection, so I will also leave some information about other books in this collection, including the Little Book of Castles, the Little Book of New York, the Little Book of Paris, and the Little Book of Past Names. So as you can probably tell from the lighting of this video, the sun is setting, so I think that is my cue to get out of here. So thank you very much for joining me in this new scenery, and perhaps I will see you next time back to our regular setting in the Bibliotek.